You're listening to the Wedding Biz Network, the voice of the creative entrepreneur. Hey everyone, it's Andy Kushner, host of the Wedding Biz, and I have a special message before I introduce today's very special guest. I want to mention that the Wedding Biz has been my passion project for about 3.5 years now. It's been such a great ride, and I've been so driven to support this industry in every way that I can and to help your growth in it by bringing you the insights that you're hearing from our industry leaders. And as the show has grown, so have the opportunities to bring you this great content. However, these opportunities do come at a financial cost. And the best way for me to keep maximizing the potential of the show and to avoid charging you a membership fee is to ask you to become a patron. If you value the show and its content, you can go to theweddingbiz.com and click on the patron link to sign up for as little as $6 a month or more if you feel so inclined. Not only will you be supporting the show, but you'll also be securing your access to solid, exclusive future content. So thanks. So last week's episode was about rendering artist Matthew Myram of Matthew Myram Event Visualization. It was a really cool interview, kind of different for the show. And then on Wednesday, on the next level, I had Valerie Gernhauser out of New Orleans, wonderful planner designer, to help me talk about that interview. So be sure to check them out if you missed them. Today's guest is Ceci Johnson, founder of Ceci New York and now Ceci Palm Beach, which creates luxury invitations and custom design stationery, and also has a beautiful online collection for home and gifts. She's also established exclusive partnerships and launched a lifestyle magazine, CeciStyle.com. Clients include past presidents, international royalty, Sean Diddy Combs, Katherine Heigl, Hugo Boss, The Ritz, and so much more. She also speaks to women in business, designers, wedding industry pros, and more. There's just so much that Ceci has going on. I last had her on with Christian Oth and Sylvia Weinstock for a panel for Bridelux, and that was episode number 223. And I had her for a one-on-one episode back in late 2018 on episode 94, where you can hear her entire backstory. It was a tremendous interview. Really recommend that you listen to episode 94. And as far as today's conversation, Ceci was so sincere and honest and real. This was really a wonderful heart-to-heart conversation. So enjoy my interview of Ceci Johnson. Hey, Ceci, it is so good to have you on again. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and you are in Palm Beach, Florida, right? That's where you are right now.
Yes, I am. I'm looking at blue skies and palm trees and ocean, and I got to say it's very therapeutic considering the state we're all in right now with this pandemic still going on.
Oh, yeah. To have that vision out the window and then, I mean, just to be able to step outside and not be freezing, at least compared to where I am in the country.
I know. It's my first winter, actually. Normally I'm in New York City and it's freezing. And so it's a bit of a trip on my mind, but I guess I can't complain in terms of being able to be in the warmth and have the sunshine and everything. And it's definitely good on the mental health for sure.
Oh, God, yeah. And you know, I was thinking about when I last had you on, and I remember it was on a panel for Bridelux. Remember, it was with you, Christian Oth,
right.
Sylvia Weinstock, and myself.
Oh, Sylvia.
Yeah.
Yes, so much fun.
I know.
And it was actually probably about a year ago, because I think it was in January.
Oh, my God.
And here we are in January,
yeah,
right?
Something like that, or December.
Wild ride.
Wow. Yeah, little did we know what was coming.
Exactly.
I know. But for people who are listening, go to episode number 223, because that was an awesome panel. It was really fun. And then I had you on for one-on-one, and this is really wild. 2.5 years ago, episode 94. It was 2018. Wow. I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, we go way back. Time flies, huh?
But, the interesting thing is I was listening to part of it again, before doing this today with you. And during that episode, we talked about dealing with the twists and turns in the road.
Yeah. Well, hey,
yeah.
Here's one, right? We never thought, like you said, was coming. Talk about that. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no. I mean, who could have known?
The irony. I mean, I feel like the rug just got ripped out of under our feet,
Well, what has it been like for you? I mean, because Ceci, it has been I mean, when I saw you more recently, it was in New York for the conference. But when it was the one-on-one episode, I was in your stunning office. I think you might have just even moved there. Yeah, it was really
brand new,
beautiful, and people were running around so busy. I mean, how has it gone for you? I mean, I imagine that it had to just knock everything out just like all the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it came out of nowhere. I remember I was speaking at a conference in Dubai at Engage, actually, and getting texts saying like, you're not going to believe it. There's no toilet paper on the shelves. Like, really, this is something serious because I can't believe you're not going to get on a plane. And I'm like, what? No one believed it. And it just hit us like a Mack truck, like I really feel like the rug just got ripped from under her feet. I'm not alone. And I actually want to take a step back and just say, first of all, I'm honored that you invited me on again. And I'm here to share all that I can and help. But I really feel like, in a way, I'm imposter syndrome. Like I'm in it just like everyone else, trying to survive, like not knowing really all the answers or what to do, and really just trying my best to put one foot in front of the other every day and like get out of bed I feel like I honestly started over in a way. Like, my business is almost 17 years old, and this March, May, I think. And, I mean, you just are like, in a way, it feels like you kind of come back to the startup process, like do you have to pivot? How do you get more clients? Like, I mean, constantly that entrepreneurial ride that you're on. And now, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not alone actually in where everyone was saying 2020 is going to be our best year yet. And I certainly had so much lined up and incredible, like dream clients that unfortunately I can't mention, but like top of my career goals, all these things. And then all of a sudden it was like one by one, they're just taken from you, canceled, moved, and you go through that process of, okay, wait, this is going to be okay. We're going to, we'll just wear masks and we'll be safe and we'll have good attitudes and I'll try to remain positive, and then all of a sudden it's just like, you go through this process of, wait, this is not going away. Remember when we were all like, oh, by summer, it'll be fine. Oh, yeah. And then summer hit and you're like, oh, by fall. I mean, my poor clients, we've rescheduled, especially when it comes to weddings.
Oh yeah. Over and over.
3, 4 times, sometimes 5 now. I mean, I just feel so bad for all of it. But
one thing I want to say right off the bat, first of all, Ceci, I mean, I really appreciate how like honest and vulnerable you're being like right now, for you to even start this way, because I think people, I mean, I'm even guilty of it, even in spite of, interviewing hundreds of people, I'm guilty of it too. We have assumptions about many of us in the industry. I mean, you look at your website, you see your business, you've got this reputation you've had for a long time. And I think that it's not unusual to say, well, yeah, I'm sure Ceci got hit, but, probably not bad. I mean, she's probably got millions saved up. I mean, it's like, and I realized talking to people, and you're saying it too, that look, no matter what that situation was, how can we not be impacted by this? I mean, almost all of us are severely impacted by this, right? I mean, you've had to really relook at your business.
100%. I mean, listen, like it's like partying. What we do or what we did for a living, like designing for parties, suddenly became illegal, and you're like, and it all just got cut off. But I just feel like, listen, it's not been easy, and we have to be honest. And who am I to come out there and be like, everything's fine, it's so great, and then make everyone else depressed? Because I'm depressed. I've gone through major like dark places of suffering and not knowing, like losing that sense of confidence and like that sense of direction and motivation. And like, I'm such a creative, me, like super passionate, creative, motivated, go-getter kind of person.
Right. I remember. Yeah.
What I realized, and honest to God, I've always known where I'm going to go next. Like everything just lines up. I set my goals. Like I chase after them. Like nothing's stopping me, like I set my mind to it. I'm going to go get it. And now it's like when all of a sudden it's like completely changing and taken from you in a way. And also, I guess what I've come to grasp with, to be very honest, is I'm such a collaborator. I'm such a people person. And when all that goes away and you're basically a creative stuck in a room and you're sick of these 4 same walls and you're not inspired. I mean, I was traveling once a month on speaking engagement. I was seeing the world, inspired by culture, by my clients, being face to face with my team. I mean, God, I can't say that like, Zoom is so terrible. If we didn't have it, I don't know what we would do.
Yeah,
right. So, but I do miss, imagine, designing by FaceTime and by Zoom for me is hilarious. I'm trying to talk to my design team. I'm like, you guys move it here, change it like this. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, point at the screen. I'm like, hold on. I have to take a picture, hold it up, show it, hope it fits in the screen, hope they can tell, text them a photo. It's so much more work and complicated in a way. We're doing it. We're trying to pull it off. But as a creative, I just miss that collaborative, energy in the room.
And that's how we tend to, of course, define ourselves, right? Is in terms of who, I think especially as creatives, first of all, we all tend to be particularly sensitive people. I think that's part of the flip side, right? There's pros and cons to that, but we're super sensitive. And I don't know that, I think for myself, I like to think I'm really secure, but then there are those moments, like you say, when I'm stuck in this room by myself and I'm not able to do my usual thing and getting out there and seeing people and speaking and seeing clients and creating these experiences and then going and witnessing them. I've got moments of insecurity where it's like, what the hell is going on here? What am I going to do?
Yeah, the demons in your brain are talking to you louder than you want them to. You're like, wait, am I the only one going through this? And that's also why I want to say, people look at Instagram and look at social media and look at your website, like you said, and think, oh, everything's just great. But reality is, you really never know what's going on behind the scenes. And so I'm a full believer in being honest and to help. So hopefully someone listening will be like, I'm so relieved to hear that because I'm going to stop being so hard on myself. They always say entrepreneurs, it's lonely at the top, right? And I think, gosh, put an entrepreneur in the middle of a pandemic with no people and you can hardly see anyone. Just think of the torture. It's already worse, way worse. Well,
those voices in our head. It's interesting. I just started to go back to this early exercise that I did back in the 90s, as a creative person. Have you heard of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron and the morning pages? Have you heard of that, Ceci?
No, but I'm writing it down.
Yeah, it's a form of journaling where, and this came up because Preston Bailey, who I talk to a lot, has been doing it for 20 years straight, and he keeps reminding me. I'm thinking, you know what? I should try it again. What it is that if I can explain it, again, this is Julia Cameron's thing in her book, The Artist's Way. It's one tool, and it's a very powerful tool that creatives in any business will use. But basically, first thing when you wake up, even I do meditation, I do transcendental. So even before that, so first thing when we wake up, I grab this notebook that I just get from whatever, Staples or Office Depot. It's like college rule.
Oh, I have to send you a Ceci notebook.
Ooh, I'll take it. I'm going to run out soon. But you basically put the pen on the paper and you don't lift up for 3 pages. For 3 pages. Look, if it's, if we're super limited on time, at least 2, but the exercise is 3. And the idea is that we don't self-edit. So it doesn't matter about grammar. You can go off into the margins and you can't stop. And so in the beginning, it's often okay, this is really weird. What am I supposed to do? I don't know what to write about. This doesn't make sense to me. Eventually, you start to get into a zone. And I think one of the original purposes of it is to get out all the angst, the anxiety, the fear, the anger. And it's like, damn it, this is really fucking me up and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
you really get it
out of the way.
Yeah, you kind of get it out of the way. But the thing is, you got 3 pages, so it's hard to be angry for 3 pages. And I find that after weeks of doing this, especially months, you start to get connected with your subconscious, with your unconscious. It comes quicker and quicker to the point where even you get great ideas start to come. But for me, even if there's no great ideas, just simply writing nonstop, getting into that mode puts me, it does a lot of things. It puts me into a zone for the day, where I'm, really connected. It also gets rid of all that shit. And I'm finding, I started it up about, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago every morning. And Ceci, I'm finding that, it hasn't dropped a bunch of money in my pocket necessarily, but I'm less stressed. I'm less anxious. I feel more grounded. I think that's what it's doing, is it feels more grounding. Great. Yeah.
So what do you do with the journal once it's done? Do you burn it or you put it on a shelf? Or
The idea is that you don't read it.
It's just like a purging, get it out of your system.
It is like a purging, and you don't read it. I've got books and books and books of these that I did back in the late 90s, And once in a while, I'll go, I pack them away in a box because I don't want anyone to find them. But but I'll open it up, and it's such a picture because, again, after you do it for a few weeks, you get into this zone of doing it, and it's interesting. It's like a snapshot back in the past. But anyway, for me, that's one of the things I do. What are some of the things that you've discovered? Like, I mean, I know your family, for now, is renting a condo or something in Palm Beach, Florida, right?
Yeah. So what are the things that I'm doing? Gosh, I mean, I am definitely not, what you just described sounds so much more structured than me. I'm definitely trying again, like, because we decided to, it's always, to explain it really, it's always been a dream of mine to expand Ceci New York into Palm Beach. And we were facing, as you're in it right now, a cold, gloomy, depressing winter ahead back in New York. And we thought, there's an opportunity here. Why don't we look at renting a place here and expand the business, follow again in our dreams, if you will, to expand into Palm Beach. We already are servicing and designing for many amazing clients here. So it just made sense. But from a business point of view, it made sense, but also from a survival, mental health point of view. Yeah,
that you're doing, creating, growing something.
Yeah, and because I can be here, I am definitely my happy place is the ocean and sunshine. And there's something about looking at that vast ocean of blue. I think there's studies shown that blue increases your creativity or something like that and your calmness. So for me, I just felt like the kids are in remote school. What's the difference of them learning from our kitchen at home versus here?
Right.
This is the one time in our life that we'd be able to do it. And as you mentioned, unfortunately, we're not, fully back into our office in New York City. We're all Team CC's working remotely wherever they are from their homes. Some of them went to their parents' house in other states. I mean, that's honestly kind of an amazing thing when you think about it, that we can all really work together in the digital world, if you will, and still pull things off and design for our clients around the world. And that's been a saving grace for sure. So in that fact that we're not physically in an office, clients are not coming in for meetings, we're doing it all virtually, then it just kind of clicked. I was like, let's do it. Here's our opportunity.
So we talking Ceci Palm Beach, basically? Like Ceci New York, Ceci Palm Beach?
Yeah, I guess you can think about it like that for sure.
Oh, I think you're going to look back one day and this is going to be probably one of the greatest things that happen. That sounds amazing for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And to be here on the ground and be able to meet with clients, if they feel comfortable, of course, masks on and doing all the safety precautions, but because it's warmer, because we're outside, we can take meetings and I can meet with clients, I can meet with planners, I can just really, hustle more down here and be here in person. And a lot of people feel more comfortable working with someone that's local. So I think, it's a good decision all around from a mental health point of view, from a brand point of view, and just, life, I guess, dealing with such a situation. Because winter, I got to admit, once it hit in March, I was so depressed being stuck indoors. It was really rough. And I know I'm not alone.
I want to be sure you know the wonderful news of our latest show, Stop and Smell the Roses, with acclaimed lifestyle and event design expert Preston Bailey. Not only will he share the secrets, tools, and technologies behind his extraordinary ability to create a theatrical environment out of any space, you will also discover more about the man behind the magic. Preston will reveal how his focus on personal growth has been the root of his professional success, and you'll have the opportunity for him to answer your questions along the way. Plus, Preston will be inviting onto the show many of the star celebrities he has worked with in the past, so you don't want to miss a single episode. We also have another great show on the Wedding Biz Network, The Business of Being Creative, with host Sean Lowe. Since debuting last May, his show has really taken off, and he's continuing to bring you the creative business advice he's shared with accomplished industry notables. Be sure to take advantage of Sean's talkback opportunity by recording questions and comments from right there in each episode's show notes. So, if you are a creative who is turning your craft into a business or want to take it to another level, head to theweddingbiznetwork.com and take a listen to Stop and Smell the Roses with Preston Bailey and The Business of Being Creative with Sean Lowe. That's theweddingbiznetwork.com. It's interesting. I was looking back at some notes from when I interviewed you the first time, and you were talking about we have to constantly reinvent ourselves. And you said, quote, you have to make your own path, and also, quote, have to create opportunities. And so what I hear that you've done is that in a sense, you're not reinventing the basic, portion of the brand, but what you're doing is you're creating more opportunity for yourself, and you're kind of almost expanding the path that you've been on.
Yeah, no, that's actually, it sounds good when you say it. Thank you.
Oh.
I am. And for me, I believe, and I have this little mantra in my family. I'm like, Johnsons don't give up. Like, we're not giving up. I tell my team, Ceci, like, this is the worst ever, but we're not going to give up. We're going to survive. We're strong. We're talented people. And I just like, even in our, my hardest, darkest moments, I'm like, I have to be strong for my team, even though maybe at night or by myself, I'm really,
right.
Hurting inside.
Right.
But I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, guys, this is not going away anytime soon. Talking to our team, I'm like, COVID, what's the one thing COVID can't take? And that's my art, and that's our creativity. And we need to start creating for, I've always had this dream, to be honest, to build a lifestyle brand beyond just the invitation or beyond just the party, right? And now that parties have been taken away, I'm kind of like, okay, this is our chance. Like, I'm given the time to focus on this lifestyle brand dream that I have. And my art is something that, again, it can't stop it. COVID can't take it. So let's start focusing on designing products, creating things that people can enjoy on a daily basis.
Wow. Like what? Like what, for example?
Well, I mean, in the very beginning, so I guess like we started, I'll kind of take you through my timeline. We started with, and I'm very grateful that this finally happened because I'm working on launching e-commerce for the Ceci New York brand. It's now live on the website. That went live right before. And so we were like, okay, let's start designing the Ceci collection, which is basically ready to order invitations, menus, save the dates, like the whole 9 yards, everything that you need for your party. And now it's like that attainable luxury, right? For those customers who don't want to go through the full couture process, like starting from scratch, working with the design team, they still get a full custom experience, but they can make it their own and personalize it. But it's sort of that eliminates all the extra, creative time, if you will, and it's a more attainable price point and faster turnaround times. So what we found is that those that were maybe just doing, 10 invitations, we even had an order for one invite, it was pretty depressing at that point. Or that we're just doing a dinner party when things started to get a little bit more opened up, so they could just go and order 10 menus, for example. So that's still connected to the events. But then I was like, okay, let's start doing more. People started to want to write more notes, to people because they were isolated for their loved ones. So we launched personal stationery. So you can go onto our website now and order a box of, it could be as low as 15 notes with your name on it. There's tons of different designs to pick from, all the way up to a box of 100. So that's been exciting. I mean, notebooks. You just talked about how you're doing journaling. I know a lot of people, especially now with our New Year's resolutions, are looking to, do a lot more journaling and put our thoughts down on paper. So we've launched a series of those. But the other things, I mean, I guess the thing was we were making all these products for events, and I just kept hearing like people were like, I love this. I love what you're doing. Can I buy one for my home and things like that? So for example, I was doing blankets for my kids' birthday parties, and we did an amazing outdoor party, and the children were snuggled up in the blankets watching a movie outside. And it was a perfect gift for not only an event, but also just for any kind of gift. So
I love that.
We have beautiful Sherpa-lined blankets now with my painting and art on it.
Oh, wow.
And then we did masks.
I was going to say, I thought you did that. You designed masks.
Yeah, we did. We took our Ceci prints because we launched a collaboration with Nuage Designs last September, which did incredible. It's still doing incredible. I mean, considering that we're in a pandemic and not many events are happening. But Pablo also decided, okay, we're gonna take that fabric and we're gonna make masks, and that's been extremely great. And I've always dreamed of doing fashion. That's definitely on my radar. But I never thought my debut would be in facial masks.
Right.
But it's been amazing, and it's like it makes my heart beat and makes me so happy to see people wearing it and loving it. And in a way, it's like the Ceci masks is glamorized their situation given this pandemic and the fact that we have to wear masks. It's not a fun thing, but we can make it beautiful and turn it into a fun fashion statement. So we're coming out with some new prints actually in the next couple of weeks. So you can get them now on ccnewyork.com, which I'm really excited about.
Wow, you are busy.
I'm trying.
So you've really kept yourself engaged. Yeah.
I'm trying, I think as a creative soul, and I think as an entrepreneur, you can't just go on a permanent vacation and not pay attention to surviving and,
right.
like making sure that you're thinking of the next great thing for your business or what is going to be your thing. I mean, both my husband and I are full time with the brand. So I don't have Daddy Warbucks or,
right.
my husband who's got all the unlimited funds here. Like we're in it together, all our eggs in one basket. So I have this immense pressure. And so does he, of course, to figure out how that pressure, just to figure it out. How do we get more business? How do we survive? I love my team and we've worked so hard to get such great employees, and I don't want to have to let all them go. That's just devastating. I don't want to even let the brand disappear. Like that's even worse. To me, I just can't give up. Like I have to figure and keep trying.
Ceci, as hard as this all is, because again, you're being really open and vulnerable about, how, when we started this today, about, some of the dark times. What I hear though, as you're telling me about this is passion. I mean, I hear extreme passion coming out of you.
Yeah, I definitely.
But that's something that I know that you're all, I'm one, so I can recognize it too. I'm generally passionate about anything I do. But, I went through also like the first few months of this thing. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't do much. And part of me was moping around. Another part was also kind of enjoying, in one sense, the chill time because, how crazy we were. But like you, I have really picked things up after those first few months, and I have been, expanding, what the podcast does with the music business. I've been coming at, I just got an epiphany the other day with a whole nother direction I want to go with my music company. But, again, we're talking, it's bringing back the passion, and I'm really resonating with that because without that, I would just sink into a depression.
Right. And I mean, listen, like I said, I had to pull myself off the floor. It wasn't like I was like, oh, yay, we're in a pandemic. Let's just go start making stuff. The answers were not always there. And nor was the motivation or is this the right thing to do? What is happening to us? So, I mean, look, it's no secret. This has rocked all of our worlds, especially in the events industry. So I just want people to know it's not like it just was so obvious or so easy. And it took a lot to process. And like I said, pick myself up off of that sad floor and be like, okay, I've got to be strong here and get through this because otherwise there's no option. I'm not going to fail. That's just the way I think of it.
Yeah. Well, how do you think, do you have any thoughts about how, I mean, obviously I see where your business is going. So when the pandemic's over, how do you think this is going to leave us all in terms of, our relation to the event industry and what the event industry is like? I'm sensing, I guess what I'm, not to do a lead-in question here, but I feel like there's something definitely marinating here, and it's going to be different. We are going to be different. And so therefore, we're going to bring it to our businesses, and it's going to change the event industry in some ways when we come back from the pandemic. I
think so. I think that, it's given us that gift of time, that gift of slowing down. And that's also you asked me what I've done. I mean, I think I finally started shifting my mindset from all that I lost, because if I start tallying up all that went away, right. I just it's dangerous.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole.
But when you start looking at what you still have and what you do have and what you can do, then it starts to become achievable in a way, it's doable, I guess I should say. And so when you focus on the little wins, or my to-do list used to be 100 pages long, it feels like, I'd be like this. Right. Even my New Year's goals, I'd be set big, gigantic goals. And now I'm just okay, I can't set myself up for failure anymore. This is just, it's depressing because you almost are shooting yourself in the foot, I guess, if I'm making sense. So I think if you set the goals small and then you feel okay, I can achieve them, then you start to get that positive energy back of okay, I'm not failing. I'm actually going to do this. And it feels good, even though maybe it's only one thing when I'm used to checking 20 things off my to-do list, or maybe it's 5, whatever it is, but go easier on yourself. And also to answer your question, I think it's prioritizing like what's worth your time. Because that's something that kept going through my mind is before we were just hustling, racing, and kind of saying yes to everything and just juggling all the balls, which I'm certainly doing. But, you're like, what is the point? Like, if there's no money behind it now, like, everyone's sort of like, I've never been so busy making no money in my life, which for sure is the wake up call, right? And when there's no other money really coming in, you're kind of like, wait, why am I doing this when everyone else is just sort of chilling and working out all day long? Like, I want to be skinny and have abs again, like what am I doing wrong? So I think that's what has helped my focus to really kind of hone in on what's worth it and what really makes sense. I mean, for example, I didn't mention this earlier, but one of the things we pivoted, if you will, I know that's such a funny word now, but I recognize that I was never spending time promoting that we do branding design. We do logo. I come from a branding background. We design brands and logos, even though I have my own Ceci New York brand. We love, and I have like sort of this business consulting side too. I love helping other brands and designing their logos, creating their business cards, whatever it may be. And I guess I had like a flip of the switch or a wake up call to be like, why am I not talking about this? Like, this is the perfect thing.
Right.
Everyone has this time on their hands now. And what are they doing? They're analyzing their businesses. So they might be looking at their logo and being like, wow, this sucks. I really need a new brand. Like, I'm going to use this time, this gift of time that I didn't ever make time for before, and rebrand myself. So I was like, okay, we're going to launch an IGTV series that'll help, feed the social media requirements. And I went out on a limb. I was crazy, but I was like, you know what? That's kind of the way I do it. Go big or go home. I started a series that basically we present to the client live on IGTV to you, the world, and the client. So all the reactions are raw and real. And it's the audience could watch and chime in and help them vote. And it just became a really cool thing that not only helped the clients, but also helped the viewers and anyone who's potentially like scared or intimidated of what it looks like to go through a rebrand or even to work with us. Suddenly we're able to see and go like, okay, I can put some visuals around it. I understand the creativity.
How do we get to your IGTV?
Oh, it's on our Instagram at Ceci New York is our Instagram. And then you just click on the IGTV button and it's the whole, pretty much everything in there is our, the branding series, the Ceci branding series.
Wow. I want to
So
check
it's
that
great because you can, And what happened is people were like, I loved following along. Like they'd see the first round and then we'd invite them back a couple weeks later when we had the next round to show. And it would just really take them through the entire creative process. And from me, I love it so much. And I actually I now have the encouragement or the what's the word, confidence, I guess, to go to even some of maybe our bridal clients or other avenues of our business, because we don't just do branding. Obviously, we have the wedding invitation side and the galas and the corporate side. Anybody who's just open to it, I think it's a great way to be able to kind of pull back the curtain and show people what our creative process is like. So yeah, I think doing more things like that, you know what I mean? I'm sure I know other companies just were forced to try new stuff and things that worked that are pleasant surprises are going to stay, to go back and answer your question. I think people are going to do it, do different things now.
Well, Ceci, geez, I love how the way you've shared so much of yourself, with your process, with this whole pandemic, the downs and the ups. And I'm so happy for you to hear the energy that you're putting into this. And I know that I'm sure some of it is paying off now, but when this pandemic is over, you are going to be situated. And that's also what I'm doing for both my businesses. I'm positioning myself.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that when this pandemic is over, that we're situated in a different place where it will pay off,
Sure hope so.
So thank you for coming back on. I definitely, I want to touch base with you every so often. And when this thing is over, I want to get back in touch with you again and hear, all the work and how it's paying off and what's coming from it. So I definitely want to have you back.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll be honored. I'm always happy to come back. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Ceci. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you.
Thank you for listening to my conversation with Ceci Johnson. Be sure to check out her website, which is ccinewyork.com. Her social media handles on Instagram is Ceci New York and Ceci Johnson. And on Facebook, it's Ceci New York and cecijohnson.official. All of this is in the show notes at our website of theweddingbiz.com. And please share this with your friends and colleagues so they can find out not only about the interview, but also about the show. And of course, giving a great review wherever you get your podcast from really helps new people find us, and I would appreciate that so much. And I want to mention that next week on Monday, I'm going to have a conversation with Ron Ben Israel, the very well-known cake designer. We had a great time, so be sure to check that out. So on Wednesday, in lieu of The Next Level, I'm going to have a conversation with Nikki Khan, planner and designer with exquisite events out of Los Angeles. Another great interview conversation. We'll catch you next week on The Wedding Biz.